Hi, welcome back for another session of Drafting 263. We're going to go ahead and finish out Chapter 7 with this universal bracket that we will use to illustrate curve-driven patterns. So I'm on page 7-34 in your text. And for this exercise, we're going to begin with an existing sketch. So you don't have to build this thing unless you really want to. But you can. Let me bring my screen up for you so that you can find I can show you where to find the part. I have uploaded it into the eCompanion shell, and you can find it by going to Doc Sharing, and then there is a folder called Part Files, and within that folder is the curve-driven pattern.sldprt. You can also find this from the same place that you likely found this video, which is on the week 3 introduction page, and I just noticed I've got a typo. Sorry, I will fix that. Right here above where this video will appear when it is uploaded, where that blue link that says curve-driven pattern.sldprt will also open up or give you the opportunity. It's a link to download this file. So let's go ahead and get started building this universal bracket. I have already opened the sketch in SolidWorks, and let's just walk through this last little bit of Chapter 7. So the first thing we want to do is we want to edit this sketch. So we're going to click on it and then choose Edit Sketch. And I'm going to change my view normal to this sketch. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that it is fully defined and has the dimensions shown on page 7-35. And this one is fully defined and has all the appropriate dimensions. So I'm going to move on to the next step, which is to extrude this out. We're going to use a mid-plane condition and make the piece be 2 inches. And click OK. And there's the basis for my universal bracket. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to put holes all the way around the outside on this, through this front face, kind of if it was laying flat, kind of through on the horizontal dimension. So let's go ahead and select this face, and then we are going to open a new sketch on this face. And again, I'm going to make my view normal to this face. And what we want to do is we first need to put in our first hole. So I'm going to place my first hole over here at the midpoint of these two curves. So I'm going to draw a center line between those two curves. And now I'm going to put a hole whose center, or a circle rather, whose center is coincident with the midpoint of that center line. And I'm just going to draw in my sketch in my circle. And now I will use my Smart Dimension tool to give that circle a diameter of 0.25. And there we go. That is our first hole. We are going to go ahead and cut this hole with an extrude. So we're going to go to Features, Extrude Cut. We are going to go through all and click OK. And that extruded my hole all the way through. Now we need to give SolidWorks the curve that we want to follow. So we're going to do that by selecting this face and opening a new sketch. Now we're going to select this curve, but what I really want is the entire outer edge. So I'm going to right click and select tangency right there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to offset from that entity, and we want to go 0.563 inches, and we're going to make that go in. And you'll notice that goes right through the center of my hole. And now I'm going to exit this sketch. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to exit my sketch. And I want to change the name of this sketch just by clicking on it. I can type over its name, and I'm going to make it Curve 1. Okay. Now what we're going to do is go up here to Features, and under Linear Pattern, we are going to select Curve Driven Pattern. And we're going to make sure that Curve 1 is my curve. I'm going to do 30 holes with equal spacing. And what I want to pattern is that hole that I just cut, which is Cut Extrude 1, or I could come over here and select it. But I'm just going to select Cut Extrude 1. And you can see that SOLIDWORKS is giving me a preview that says that it's going to put 30 holes, just like that first one that I did, all the way around, and I'm going to say, OK. And there are my holes. And I can suppress that curve so that it cleans up my view a little bit. All right, almost done. Now we just need to put the holes that go through this edge kind of in the vertical direction. What we're going to do is we're going to this time select the front plane. And remember that that front plane goes right through the center of my part because I did a mid-plane extrude. So now I'm going to, again, select. Oops, sorry, before I do that, I need to tell SOLIDWORKS I'm going to open up a new sketch. And now I'm going to, again, select this front edge. I'm going to right-click and select Tangency. And this time what I'm going to do, go into my sketch, and I'm going to just convert that entity. What that does is it takes that front edge and turns it into a curve on the plane on which I'm sketching, in this case the front plane. Now I'm going to put a hole. Actually, I'm going to exit this sketch because all I wanted to do in that sketch was create that curve. And I'm going to change that to, the name of that, to Curve 2. Okay. Now I'm going to use that curve to pattern my screw holes. And in order to create screw holes, I'm going to use the Hole Wizard. It's kind of a cool little feature in SOLIDWORKS. So I'm going to click Hole Wizard. And what this is a library of standard holes that we can drill. We're going to use ANSI inch. Now, your textbook says to use a flathead screw. If you click on this, you will notice that there is no flathead screw in SOLIDWORKS 2014. Our textbook is based on 2015. One of the few times we've run into differences here, so we can really choose anything here. We're just illustrating the curve-driven pattern. So I'm going to use a pan slot head. 1/4 inch normal fit. We're going to do a blind condition and set our depth at 1 1/4 inches. Now, in order to tell SOLIDWORKS where we want to put these holes, we're going to click Positions. And we want to create holes on multiple 3D faces. So we're going to click the 3D sketch. And we are going to position the first hole right about there on our top flat portion. And now what I want to do is I actually want to add a relation between the center of that hole and this line. So after you've got the hole placed, go click on Add a Relation. Now click on this line The point 1 is already the center of the screw hole. That's where we clicked. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a midpoint condition. And that moves my hole to where I would like it to be. And I'm going to say, OK. And I'm going to now say, OK again to place my first hole. Now we're going to select the curve-driven pattern. For our direction 1, we want to select curve 2 from the feature manager tree. We're going to do 30 holes, equally spaced all the way around, and make sure that this tangent to curve is selected. You've got two options: align to seed, which makes them all exactly the same alignment as my first hole, or tangent to curve, which makes the tops of the holes tangent to that curve that I'm using as my guide curve, so that they go through the part, and that's what we want. And now we're going to click OK. And just that easily, we have put holes all the way around this part in two different directions using the pattern to curve, or the curve-driven pattern feature of SOLIDWORKS. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save mine as DRF263 Chapter 7 Curve-Driven Pattern. All right, that's all there is to this chapter. Go ahead and complete the activity that I've assigned for you in the course shell, and I will see you again soon.